Hi guys, thanks for meeting me here. I'm making a video about Mitski today, which is super exciting. I'm very online, so I see like everything about Mitski because I follow like those 4 Mitski gimmick Twitter accounts. Not all of them are gimmick accounts. They're amazing accounts. I love them and they helped me with my research today, so I'll link them down below. But yeah, to give you context, when I heard that the album title was called This Land is Inhospitable and So Are We, my first thought was she went to the Lana Del Rey School of Long Album Titles. And then I went on Twitter and I saw someone saying the exact same thing. So I think Gen Z just has like a collective brain rot and I need to go outside and start meditating and have less screen time. But that's not what this video is about. It's about Mitski. If you haven't heard, she's coming out with a new album in September and the first single for it just dropped 2 days ago. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about her past albums. I'll give some context for like her new upcoming albums and what she said about it. And then I'll give my own opinions about her single at the end of the video. Let me just preface this by saying that obviously everything I'm going to say is informed by my own opinion because it's my video, but at the same time I'm going to try and keep everything informational and definitely let you know when my opinion comes into play. I've been very interested in Mitski's career for the last few years because I think it's very rare for someone this like vision focused and raw and like genuine to skyrocket into success at this rate when she's been working in the industry for so long. I also think it's great that women in their late 20s and early 30s are getting more of a spotlight in pop. This probably sounds annoying and ageist coming from a 22-year-old, but I'm just trying to say that like society has favored teens and girls in their early 20s in the pop industry, and I feel like that's changing. In comparison to the last decade or so. To give you a quick refresher on Mitski, or if you're unfamiliar, she began her music career at Purchase College in New York. She was getting her undergrad degree in studio composition and she had played piano all of her life before this. It's unclear whether she went into college with the ambition of being a musician like she is now, or if she wanted to be on like the production aspect of things, but what I do think is interesting is that she was initially a film major before she switched into Purchase College. If you've seen her music videos, this probably makes sense to you. I really like that her music videos are open-ended, up to interpretation, ambiguous, just 3 synonyms, sorry. There's still such a strong narrative focus that it feels universal somehow. It's clear that the visual form is extremely important to Mitski, and she expresses that in really interesting ways, both in her past and also in her upcoming era. More on that later. Oh my god, that's so loud. The AC just turned on, so sorry if that's super loud. Hopefully the mic helps. Just like me, a lot of people have been interested in Mitski's career path, so there's a lot of information about her floating around online. She also used to be way more active on social media. She used to use Tumblr kind of how Ethel Cain does now. She would like interact with fans and answer questions and just like give her opinions on things. Twitter was also big for Mitski back in the day. She's had a lot of tweets that have gone viral like after the fact, many years later, because now people have context for who she is, so it makes it even funnier. So throughout this video, you might be like, how do you know that she drunkenly wrote her first song after coming home from a night out? That's why. She used to be a little bit more online. She was one of us. That song, the first song that she ever wrote, is Bag of Bones, by the way, and she describes feeling doomed, like she just saw the rest of her life. In this video, I do want to focus on her new era and her upcoming album, This Land is Inhospitable and So Are We, but I'm very interested in her career. So the exposition of this video might be a little bit longer because I don't know what parts to leave out. I'm very fascinated by all of it, but I'll do my best. We'll start by going through the albums that she does have out so far. If you want a written timeline of her career, I'll link the website down below that she does her press releases on. They have a lot more information than what I can cover. In an interview with Apple Music last year, Mitski said that her albums tend to come out in twos. Conceptually and instrumentally, they stick together as pairs. I'll let her explain it a little bit more.
And so the first album is like the discovery of an idea. The second album following it is a refinement of that idea.
So for example, her first 2 albums, Lush and Retired from Sad New Career in Business, they are both more piano-based and they involve a lot of orchestral instruments because they were both made as student projects at her time at Purchase. The next pairing would be Bury Me at Makeout Creek and Puberty 2. She describes these 2 albums as herself rediscovering guitar. I also think it really showcases her lyrical ability.
I start to explore the DIY community and start to explore punk music.
Finally, the last pairing is Be the Cowboy and Laurel Hell. The former is kind of an introduction to Mitski's synth pop, art pop vibe. And then the latter kind of tidies up some of the ideas that Be the Cowboy introduces, both musically and conceptually. This is also when she began putting more focus into the narrative building of an album and what it means to have a theme that kind of ties an album together.
I realized that there could be more to an album just than just a collection of songs. It's more just like, what's a persona I can put on? What's like a common theme I could thread through an entire album? What are like the visuals I can do for an album?
I really love this framing of her discography because it lets you track Mitski's musical development and her life story. I'm basically just paraphrasing everything that she said in the interview, so I'll definitely link it down below. It's really good. Even though there was a 4-year gap between Be the Cowboy and Laurel Hell, the similarity of ideas between the two is really fascinating. An example of this is this quote from Mitski in which she explains the reasoning for not stacking her vocals on Be the Cowboy. They wanted to achieve that campy person singing alone on stage atmosphere. This idea was actually fleshed out in the music video for Working for the Knife, which is the first single for Laurel Hell. In kind of the beginning of the music video, we see her lurching forward and her cowboy hat falls off, symbolizing the end of maybe the first half of this era. And then after this, she proceeds to perform in an empty music hall, invoking the same ideas that she was trying to create in Be the Cowboy. I also think this framing is interesting because it wasn't even Mitski's intention to do this. She says in the interview that her producer, Patrick Hyland, who has been with her since Purchase College, and I believe they worked on all the albums together except for Lush, she says that he pointed it out. And so it was just a natural way that her albums happened to evolve. Like I said, Laurel Hell came out in 2022, and it was long awaited by her fans because she pretty much exponentially grew in the time between Be the Cowboy and Laurel Hell. Her rise in popularity had a few factors, but I think most people would agree that it was mainly from TikTok. There were a few viral trends that used her songs as the audio, but I think more than anything, her name just became like a placeholder for sad girl music. Her name became more of an identifier and less of a genuine expression in her music, kind of like how people use Girl in Red. But this general phenomenon, although it's annoying, it did increase Mitski's popularity and it led to her becoming a household name in all of Gen Z and like some millennials. A lot of millennials have liked Mitski's music for years, and she was really popular in like the true indie scene in 2016, 2017, 2018. I can't find this tweet anymore, but it was like, you either saw Mitski at a free concert with like 30 other people, or you're gonna see her with hundreds of teenage girls. There's no in between. I think that's a very common sentiment. It's not exactly gatekeeping her, it's just like expressing frustration with the current state of her fan base, which I know they seem really annoying, but I went to a Mitski concert like last year and it was so wholesome and it was really sweet. They're generally pretty cool people. I think most of the Mitski fans that are annoying online have bedtimes, so I didn't have to interact with them at the concert. Chai opened for Mitski when I went to go see her, and it was actually really cool. Like, I love Chai now, and we were actually standing next to one of the producers for Chai, so that was really fun, just like chatting with him. But anyways, Mitski has expressed some discomfort with being a public figure in the past. This can come in the form of announcing her hiatus in 2019, although this also has to do with her being overworked at the time. It can also come in the form of her living a low-profile life, and also this one she caught some flack for, which is she sent out a message last year asking fans to kindly consider their phone usage at her concerts. In the past few years, a few artists have expressed this feeling, and honestly it makes sense because imagine just staring into a sea of phones and their flashes and you don't get to see the people that you're performing for. Some people were really upset with Mitski for this, and their argument was that they paid for the ticket, they get to be there, they can do whatever they want. They also argue that when you're at a concert, you're so excited, you don't retain your memories for later. Sure. If you want my opinion though, I will usually film like my favorite parts no more than like 10 seconds at a time, because that way I also don't have a bunch of footage later that I have to go through and I'm like, why did I record 3 hours of footage? Some people genuinely do that. They have their phone on the entire time. Anyways, that's a whole other video. I just bring it up because I feel like people associate Mitski with that message, even though she deleted it like 3 hours later or something because people were harassing her over it. This is also something I can make a whole video about, the concept of a musician taking a hiatus. I wonder why musicians feel the need to announce that they're going on hiatus. 4 years between an album is very normal and should be encouraged, especially when you're a successful and established artist who, you know, can rely on their past income. I think some people overwork themselves and don't have people to say no to them, so as a result they constantly are putting out music. Obviously the average musician can't just go on a 4-year hiatus, but Mitski describes discussing with her accountant to make sure that she could go on this hiatus. I think it also opened a lot of opportunities up for her because she was stepping away from Mitski as a public performer which allowed her to work as a songwriter and a collaborator, and she wrote songs for films, and she was just doing a lot of interesting behind the scenes work. I was also thinking about this with Lorde. After Melodrama, people went crazy, like not in any way that actually matters. They were just making memes about her hiatus. Like, she put out an insane album. If she wanted to take 10 years off, I think that would be fine. That's truly a video I'd love to make. If Lorde drops another album this year, I definitely will make that video. She's been teasing it a little bit, like she posted a picture of her in the studio, but I'm not getting my hopes up. All right, let's get back to Mitski. On July 24th, Mitski announced her new album by releasing a video of herself addressing the camera on her phone while she was sitting at a piano. It's like in vertical format. I think this is super fascinating. She posted it to all of her social media accounts, including TikTok, which is intriguing because she's never had a TikTok account before this, despite being super popular on TikTok. So following that model that I was talking about earlier, where the albums come out in pairs, Mitski says that this new album would be the first in a pair, so an introduction to something new. I think she's the queen of like subtle reinvention. Like, she manages to retain herself and her values, but she changes the conversation around herself completely between albums. The album comes out September 15th, and the first single actually came out 2 days ago as I'm filming this on July 26th. It's called Bug Like an Angel, and the music video features a lady with gray hair stumbling around on the street. I encourage you to go watch that because I'm about to talk about it. The lighting in this video is really beautiful. It's giving Wong Kar-wai like a little bit with the yellows and the blues and the neon store signs. Mitski begins the first verse alone, and I can't quite tell if her vocals are stacked or if there's like a reverb effect on her vocals that makes her consonants hit twice. But either way, the raw vocals in combination with the simple guitar strumming is really reminding me of Elliott Smith. It's just such a portrait of rock bottom. At the end of the first verse, there's a line that says, "Sometimes a drink feels like family," and on the word family, a full choir just comes in and joins Mitski on the vocals. I was listening with headphones when this first came out, and that word just felt like a punch in the gut and a hug at the same time, which is exactly how it feels when you're at rock bottom and your family's trying to help you. The choir stays for most of the song, and I think it's just the perfect addition given the context of what Mitski has said about her intentions and the meaning behind this album. Essentially, this album is functioning as like a post-apocalyptic thought experiment. It pitches these different scenarios to you, it asks questions of you, but its main assertion is that love lasts beyond all of the heartache and the death and the injustice. Getting more into the visuals, I'll put some pictures up about kind of the vibe that she has introduced. It's black and white so far. Everything is, even her album cover. I think the first idea that we even had that Mitski was going to come out with a new album was when she updated her website to have a picture of a broken teacup on it. We do know now that the shards of the teacup that are broken each represent a track on the album. This picture was posted alongside the cover art reveal, and you can see like the names of the songs with each piece. To be frank, people don't like this cover art. The font is a little bit difficult to read, and the placement of it is really jarring. I don't really have an opinion on it. Like, it doesn't strike me like her other album covers do, but I've also had a lot more time with them. If you think about Bury Me at Makeout Creek though, it's also not really a striking album cover. I don't think she focuses a lot on trying to appeal to her audiences visually. Obviously, her music videos are beautiful, but as far as her album covers, people don't like them that much. I think she's just more focused on like what the actual meaning of the art is to her rather than consumers. But yeah, each little piece is a song, and I wonder if she put thought into like which shape goes with which song, or if her graphic design team had a hand in that. I'm really curious. Other than that, the only other piece of content that we do have about this upcoming era is actually from her merch website, and it's like a t-shirt that just has a house on it and a few lines that I'm assuming are from a song from the new album. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. If you like music content, then let me know if I should make more stuff like this. I try to keep my finger on the pulse, but I generally stick to pop and indie because that's what I'm most interested in. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like the video.